Hello, my name is Karina Groombridge, and this is another episode of Mom Boss Life. Tonight, my guest, Sandra Houseman, is a web designer and online business strategist, and I am super excited to have her on tonight because she, like many of you, has kicked off her business in order, obviously, to spend more time with her kids, but also she started this while her little one was a super tiny little baby. And I think she'll give you some awesome insight onto how she made it work for her and what her life looks like now. So I'm just going to give her a second to come and jump on and join us. For anyone new who's watching, Mom Boss Life is really a series to kind of peek behind the curtain of other mom bosses who are making it work in their business and in their family life. So they are doing something that they love so that most likely they can spend a little bit more time with their family and doing those things that are really important to them. So I found it's just so important to go and showcase what other moms are doing and how they're doing it and how they make it work for themselves. Because really, there is not all the time in the world to do all the things, but if we really focus on those things that are super important to us, then it is absolutely possible to be able to have it all. You don't necessarily have to do it all, but you can definitely have it all. So this is really one of the big things. Hello, Sandra. Okay. It does not show me that you are on. Are you on a cell phone right now? If you are on a computer, then Facebook won't let you jump on. And I'm not sure how that works for iPads or stuff like that. But please send me a message. Let me know if you are on an iPad or a computer. But I don't see you able to join the live. So apparently you need to be able to log in on your phone in order to do that. So I will give Sandra a minute and I will sit here and I will chat with you guys. If anyone has any questions. Oh, you are on a phone. Uh-oh. Okay. All right. Powers of the internet. Let's bring Sandra on. Come on. Yes. Okay.
Hello.
Hello. I see you. I hear you. This is good.
Hi. Awesome.
Excellent.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am
Okay.
doing well. Doing well. Thanks.
Excellent. I think there's a little bit
Yeah.
of a lag, but I think it's manageable. I think we're good. And I don't know how to fix that.
Okay.
So,
I know.
oh well, that's
Can you
okay.
hear me okay now?
I can. Yes.
Okay. I can say I can try turning off my Wi-Fi if that would help, but seems like everything's working okay at the moment.
All right. Sounds good. Well, I'll let you know if something comes up. I think we should be all right.
Okay. Okay.
So, Sandra, it is so nice to
Yeah.
have you on. Thank you so much for coming, for
Yeah.
joining us, for going and sharing your story. Actually, before we just get started, I just want to share this on social. So I apologize for
Hmm. Yep.
being distracted for just a second. Hopefully, I can just go and share this. All right. All right, so we are live. Sorry for that delay.
Awesome. You're fine. Yeah.
So yes, so I was just telling the audience a little bit about you, but obviously you can do a way
Mhm.
better job at that than I can. So please, if you could tell us a little bit about you, your family, just we want to just get to know you a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I am Sandra Houseman. I am a Squarespace web designer and online strategist. And I have two boys. One just turned 3, and the other is 8 months old, and they keep me very, very busy. But
No
I
kidding.
love it. Yeah. But I love it. And right now, it's just a lot of juggling all the things. But that's just what it is, and that's the season that we're in, and that's why we're here. And so it's really good. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So when we were chatting offline, you were saying that you had gotten your business started because you wanted more time with the kids, or well, kid at that point.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
can you tell us a little bit about the start of your journey?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been quite a few years now. Back when I started doing freelance design, actually in college, it's been a long time since then,
Hmm.
but I did freelance for a while, and I enjoyed it, but I just kind of dabbled in it and then worked corporate. So fast forward through all of that, found out that we were pregnant, and it really changed everything.
Uh,
And
Obviously.
yeah, and I just got to the point where I was like, I just don't want to spend 40 hours a week working in a cubicle. And and so, it was just a lot of work at the beginning because we were talking last night a little bit about this, but like I told you, um, I began building my business while I was working full time, and just really like did a lot of late nights, and um, a lot of just a lot of just a lot of work. It's a lot of work when you're building a business and you're working, and you're pregnant or you have kids, and so that's how it started for me. And then eventually, after about a year of doing that, I was able to quit my corporate job. Just everything just worked out perfectly for that. My husband got a raise at the same time, as just getting more clients, and so I was able to step out of my corporate job and really do my design business full time. And it has been a journey since then, like a journey for sure, of um, going on 3 years of this entrepreneur journey, which is just full of ups and downs. And so it's been really awesome, but there's just been so many twists and turns and ups and downs, and that's just kind of what it is. But yeah, and
Very
so
true.
now
What do
I
you mean
help
by
ladies.
twists and turns?
Yeah, so I oh man, so when I first started my business, I did freelance design, and I feel like this is deep for me because this has been 2 years of just thinking on this, and also talking to other ladies who struggle with the same thing. But when I first got into business, there was this idea that I kept hearing of, and I don't even really know how to say it or describe it, but I almost felt like I needed to be more than I was. Like I needed to try to be more than I was. And maybe that sounds backwards from, what you normally hear, but what I mean by that is I was a freelance designer, and although I love that, and yes, I did want to like work at bettering myself and making myself more, I felt like I had to become a coach or a strategist, or like just being a designer wasn't enough. And so I branched out into branding, and I will preface all of this by saying, like, this journey has just been awesome. Like all of it has been awesome. But it's taken a lot, like I said, a lot of twists and turns. And so um, I branched out into branding, and I learned so much, and I loved that. But then I got into business coaching because I thought, that's kind of what I'm doing already. And I got into that. That's kind of what I thought the next thing was. But um, throughout all of these transitions of saying, okay, I'm going to kind of like reinvent myself a little bit. Let's try this. Let's try that. Um, I think that has been really good because it's helped me learn a lot about myself, about who I like to
Definitely.
work with, what I like to do. But I also think for me, I had to realize that I didn't have to always try to be more. That
Hmm.
what I had, the skills that I had, and what I brought to the table was enough, um, as it was, and that I didn't have to try to constantly search for more and more and more. Um, and the other thing that I hear, like when I hear that story and when I say that story, I think of all the people who come to me and say, okay, I want to pivot in my business. I want to transition from this to that, but I feel like if I do that, people aren't going to trust me, or people are going to think I'm X, Y, and Z, fill in the blank. And
Hmm.
I will say that from my experience, because I've done that like twice now, I've learned so much. It's helped me learn about myself, but to just take that step out and say, okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to give it a try. But it's through that journey that has really gotten me here to where I am, which is just totally like where I know I'm supposed to be. Um, I love what I'm doing. I love who I'm working with, but it's taken a lot of self discovery and a lot of personal development. I think all of that was
That's
part
such a
of that
good
journey.
reminder. Such a
So,
good reminder
so
because
yeah, that's kind of a long explanation, but yeah, that's the all the twists and turns, all the ups and downs.
yes. And I'm so happy you said that because so often people, start off on this journey and they go, well, this doesn't really feel right. And then they might give up. But one thing that you mentioned that I think is important for everyone to remember is that that's just the first step. And most likely that step is going to get you one step closer to your end goal, to where you really should be. Just like, you're in kind of your genius zone now. You found it. You're in your happy place. And I know for
Mm-hmm.
me, I am too. Like it that light bulb moment finally went off. And for all the ladies watching, like if you're not there yet, if you're not at that point of saying like, yes, I fucking love this, it's amazing, then don't give up. Like keep going because you can get there. You can get to that point. So yes, thank
Yeah.
you so much for sharing that because it's such a good reminder
Yeah.
for everyone to just, don't stop until you find that passion, that spot, that sweet spot.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah, totally.
so in all of these ups and downs and in your journey, have you ever contemplated giving up?
Yeah, I laugh because I feel like at some level there's um like a weekly kind of like, oh well, maybe is this, sorry, my dog. Anyways, yeah, so there's kind of on some level it's like, oh man, this is really hard, like week in, week out. But at the same time, it's one of those things where I know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I know that this is what the Lord has put on my heart to do. And so I feel like it's my responsibility. And so keep going as much as sometimes I want to. I know that this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so there's that responsibility that I feel to keep going in that and keep um, giving it my all.
Yes, I love that. And I apologize, I'm coughing. I've
Oh no,
got
you're
something,
fine.
got a tickle in my throat. I apologize. Um, so, I mean, in all of this business and this growth and personal growth, what do you feel has been um, your biggest strength through all of this? Like, if there's, one thing you could attribute it to
Um, my biggest strength. Do you mean something that has kept me going?
through the
Yeah.
hard times and the
Um,
easy times.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, I would say that two things. One is my family. Like my family is obviously the reason kind of why I started this on some level. Wanting to spend more time with my son, wanting to be able to spend time with my husband, um, and so like that really keeps me going. That keeps me going for sure. And then um, also like I had this passion um, and this desire to take my talents and take the things that I've been given and to help others grow their mission, get their passion, and get their mission out into the world in bigger ways. And so that is something that was put on my heart, and so that really keeps me going, helping other people get their message and get their passion into the world in bigger ways, the things that God's put on their heart, to help them get that out into the world, and just to all the people who need it.
Amazing. Which is so, so important. I love it. Like, imagine
Yeah.
if everyone could be doing what they absolutely like truly love. I think that would make for a very different world. But
Yeah.
maybe one day we'll get
Yeah.
there. So can you tell me, sorry, I feel like we didn't quite dive into it as much as I would like. So can you tell us more about what you do with your clients and how you really can help and serve them? And also,
Yeah.
on that note, who is your ideal client?
Yeah. Yeah. So I primarily work with female entrepreneurs, ladies who have, like I was saying, that mission and that passion that they want to get into the world. They, want to help people, and so I primarily work with service-based business owners. I help them create easy to manage websites. That's really what it all boils down to for me, is whether I'm helping them create their own or whether I'm doing it for them, giving them an online home that looks beautiful, that functions
Mm.
really well. And the whole goal, the main focus, is the conversions. And so it's getting people onto their email list, getting people to follow through with that sale um, through their website. And so that's my passion, that's my focus, and that's what I love doing.
Amazing. And you said also as well, online business strategist. So I guess I
Mm-hmm.
imagine the two kind of go hand in hand, right?
Right. Yeah, yeah. It's just helping ladies take. A lot of times, what I hear is um, people, women have, I mean, really business owners in general, will create this website, and it may look good, but sometimes it can look good and not really do much for you. And so it's in taking that website that looks good, or maybe their website doesn't look good, sometimes that too, but helping them create that
Yeah.
website that looks really great, but then also that other side of functioning really, really well for you. And so that's that strategy side of figuring out, okay, how can we optimize this to work for you? How can we automate? How can we create something that flows better, that functions better for the viewer, that gets them to engage, to follow you, to trust you, so they eventually do want to purchase or engage in some way in what you're doing, whether that's a nonprofit or a for-profit business.
Oh, excellent. Good point.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so as far as your family life goes, so can you kind of walk us through what a day in your life looks like? Oh, okay. It's freezing a little. I think there's a delay.
Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I actually just had someone ask me this yesterday, and I kind of chuckled because right now, in this season that I'm in with a 3-year-old and an 8-month-old, there's not really a typical day for us. Um, and we are currently in the search to find childcare for our 8-month-old. But until that time, until we can find someone, it is just doing the right next thing every single step of the day. And so, what I mean by that is it's juggling all the things. It's um, making sure the housework gets done, making sure, the cooking gets done, taking care of the kids, spending time with the kids, but then also fitting in my work whenever I can. And also trying to not let that overtake the rest of my life, because I don't know about you, but it is very easy for me to slip into becoming a workaholic sometimes. And so making sure to set the boundaries, and making sure that I also am still being a present mom while also working at growing my business. So right now, there really is not much of a typical day. It's full on mom mode and then full on business mode in the evenings.
Okay. So just to be clear, I mean, obviously your son, I think you said is 8 months-ish. So
Uh-huh.
you're watching him full time, I'm assuming,
Yep.
because you said
Yep.
no daycare yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Just
then it's
recently yeah, we started taking him to a babysitter like a few hours a week until we can find something. But yeah, pretty much straight up momming all the time.
nice. So I guess that's working like nap times and evenings and that sort
Yep.
of thing. Okay.
Yep.
And your husband, what does he do?
It is. He is a screening technician, which doesn't really tell you much, but he works for a fiber optics company. So he actually works from home, which is
Okay.
awesome because we are able to spend so much time together.
Nice.
And then he also he works at our church. He leads worship, and so we're we're both very busy at this season in life.
No kidding. And I guess that makes for a pretty busy house too.
Yep, it does. Yep.
All right. Well, I just wanted to take a pause for a second and say to anyone watching, if you have got questions for Sandra or I, please drop them below. If you're watching the replay, drop us a comment, let us know you're watching. And yes, for any questions that we might miss, we will gladly come back around and make sure all of those are answered for you. And as well, drop where you are watching from because this goes all over the internet. So it's always fun to go and see, how far this stretches.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, so Sandra, I'm wondering, as far as self-care goes, because obviously if you're in mommy mode, self-care is usually a little
Hmm.
hard to tackle sometimes. So I'm just wondering, do you
Yep.
have a routine that you try to stick to, or like what are those self-care things that you have or that you need to
Yeah.
have with you?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't really have much of a routine, but the things that for me are the self-care things that I am doing right now are really just kind of like the everyday things that people should be doing, but that are difficult for moms. So, like, if I
Showering?
can, exactly, that's what I was gonna say. If I can get away and have a shower, like by myself with no kids screaming, and my husband watches the kids, like that, that's pretty great for me. So it's just the little things, really, but like getting a cup of coffee or going to a coffee shop for a few hours to get some time without the kids, just to get some work done, or just like my husband and I watching a movie at night, or it's just the little things like that, but it's making sure to it's making sure to take time out to do that because so often if I have a free second, like any free second, millisecond in my life, I I tend to want to fill that with either working or housework or cleaning. And so it's making sure to set some of those times aside where I'm not doing those things, where I'm able to just shut my brain off for a little bit, whether it is watching a movie with my husband or just taking a shower without the kids screaming in the bathroom. So for me, those are the important things to make sure I remember to do.
Nice. I like that what you said about putting something in a free moment because I do the same
Mm-hmm.
thing. It's like I always have this tendency to be busy, and I'm sure a lot of moms can relate because there's always something
Yeah,
to do. But again, so important to just take a step back and go, okay, I'm going to do nothing for a second and just
I know.
enjoy what that looks like.
Yeah, it feels strange and
Yes.
awesome at the same time.
Yes. Um, so what is one of your best strategies to kind of get all of your work done? I know you'd mentioned something about time blocking. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Or if there's any other strategies that you really love?
Yeah. Well, I am a list person, and so
Hmm.
I've actually started using Monday.com, formerly Depulse, and that has been awesome for me to get all of my lists in one place and to be able to just know like what I need to work on next. So that has been great. Just going off of some kind of list. But also just um, knowing what the important things are that have to be done each week, because there's a lot of things that we want to fill our work time with that maybe aren't as important or aren't like the income producing activities. And so making sure to fill my first time with those income producing activities. And that would, for me, that would be actually like focusing on client work first, focusing on lead generation, um, just different things like that before I dive into something that might look like a rabbit hole. And I don't know if that makes sense, but there are some things that, like, as an
Can you see the
entrepreneur,
rabbit holes
you're
before?
yeah, yeah, you're never done with everything. There's always something to do, and so it's just doing those things that are the most important to get done first. Um, kind of kind of the way that I structure it.
Excellent. So how do you know what are those things that are the most important that should be done first? Like, how do you figure that out for yourself and your business?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. For me, if it has to do with making a client happy, so if it has to
Mm.
do with um, getting something to them, working on something for them, following up with them, communicating with them, that takes top priority for me. Um, and then, second to that, if it's something that's going to bring me work, um, increase income, then that is second to that. And so every day I will do those client tasks first, the things that are going to um, get them their work faster, make them happy. And then I will look at, okay, what do I need to do to fill my pipeline? What do I need to do to get communication going with new people or networking, different things like that? That's second. And then after that, I'll prioritize any other things that need to be done.
Excellent. All right. And as far as things that you have been or are currently struggling with, like what do those struggles look like for you where you're at right now?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I would say what I struggle with the most um, is actually what we just talked about. It's remembering to,
Hmm.
like, when I sit down, every single time I sit down to work, it is making sure that I have a plan. Um, because I think that this comes with kind of having a creative brain. My personality type is just very like very free flowing. Um, and so I love kind of just to like flutter about and do all the things, and sometimes I can get caught up in not having like a rhyme or a reason as to when I'm doing what, and so it's just being really intentional to be productive with my time. And so having, like I said, I use Monday.com. I've just been implementing that, and having that to be able to like move my tasks around, keep me on track. That has been really great, to be able to help keep me on track and make sure that I'm in not doing that. But honestly, it's just a lot of like being really intentional. I found that if I can look at my list the night before, that helps me wake up the next day and know, okay, like this is what I need to do. Or if I can talk through my week with someone before I
Oh,
get there,
that's a good one.
I can start to say, okay, these are my top three priorities for the week. These things have to get done. So Monday morning, I know exactly what to focus on.
Love that. Focus is so important,
Yeah.
especially with the little time.
Yes. Yes,
Yes.
for sure.
Um, so, where do you normally like to hang out on social media?
Yeah. I am loving Instagram right now. I have just recently like taken the plunge into Instagram. I've been kind of like dabbling in it up until recently, but I am loving it. So that's where I hang out the most. That's where I'm posting all things life, all things business. So you can find me there. I also hang out on Facebook. I have a business page on Facebook. Um, I have obviously a personal profile, and I love connecting with people there too. So those are the main places to find me. I also blog every week, and so you
Okay,
can find me there as well.
cool. And I guess the blog is linked
Yeah.
to your website
Yep. Yep. It's sandrahouseman.com.
naturally.
And then my Instagram and Facebook handles are I am Sandra Houseman.
Yes, I put the links above. I'll refresh
Yep.
and just make sure they're good to go.
Yeah.
But yes, all that
Yeah.
information will be ready so you guys can go and find Sandra and go chat with her.
Yep.
And as far as what's going on in your business, so if somebody wanted to work with you, what do your packages look like? Like, how do you normally work with your clients?
Yeah. So the first step that I recommend is a website audit. So if you already have a website, I will just step into your website with you. We'll look at it together and walk through page by page, see what's going on, see what areas you can improve. If there's any crucial elements that are missing, we'll talk that through. That's a really great place to start because if someone's just wanting, just a little bit of help, they can get that way. We can see if we're a good fit together. And then if someone is wanting to go further, then they can apply the cost of that website audit towards whatever they decide to go with after that. So website audit's what I would recommend. And actually for the viewers of this show, I want to give $100 off of that. So that takes it from
Uh,
$297
nice.
down to $197. So anyone that is
Excellent.
wanting to see some quick tangible action steps, that would be a great place to start. And then beyond that,
Oh,
I do help
wait.
people on an yeah.
Sorry, just one second. Since this
No,
is
you're fine.
going out to the World Wide Web and it will be out there for a little
Yep.
while, can I
Yep.
recommend that do you want to put a time frame on that offer or like how would that work?
Yes. Yeah. Let's do the end of March. You got enough
Okay,
time?
end of March 2019.
Yep. Yep.
Because
Yep.
God knows when somebody might
Yeah.
jump on this, but yes. All right. That
Yes.
sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then the next step, I provide completely done for you services for someone who is wanting to take their website and have a complete overhaul. I'll step in and do all of these things for you. And then I'll also, for someone who's maybe a little bit newer in business or just doesn't want, maybe they want to DIY their website and they just want some help. I can do hourly services as well, where I'll come in and like I can do some design work for you. I can help you with the structure and the functionality. I can help you optimize, look at your analytics and things like that. So either of those options would be the next step after the audit.
Amazing. I love the variety from, done for you to just a little bit of help. So that's amazing. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
So just before we wrap up, I'd love to know, do you have like a top three tips that you find you're always giving to your clients? Is that something that you could share with us?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, let's see here. So one of my tips would be to make sure that you have well, okay, so I'll start here. The first thing is that your website has to have a main goal. And
Mm,
so if you haven't done this already, you need to sit down and think about what do you want your website to do for you. And a lot of times when I ask that, I get bombarded with a list of things that they want their website to do. But I want you to take it even simpler, more focused than that, and think of the one thing. If you could boil it down to one thing that you want your website to do for you, what is that thing? And that can look like having people get on a call with you. That can look like having them join your email list. That can look like engaging with them and giving them value. Maybe that's your top priority is to have them see what you do and how you do it and give that through a blog or a podcast. And naturally, these things will kind of overlap a little bit, but it's really important to boil that down to your top thing because there can only be one top priority. And so that would be the first thing, to figure out your goal. The second thing would be to, and this gets a little technical, but to optimize your site for that goal. So if your goal is adding people to your email list, and that's your main thing that you want to get across with your website, then you're going to be putting opt-ins and freebies in all the places, and making sure that you've got something at the top, something at the bottom, something in the middle. Like you are getting that in front of them everywhere that you can, in your blog posts, on your homepage. And then beyond that, actually look at your analytics. So that would be the third one, is take some time to look at your analytics, see how many monthly viewers you have, see where they are coming from. Take some time to really kind of just go through if you're on Squarespace, you can go through the analytics tab on the left-hand side. If you're not on Squarespace, you can hook up Google Analytics, and you can see, where people are coming from, how long they're staying on your site, different things like that. That will give you an idea of what is going on, because you have to know what's going on before you can kind of address any issues. So know your goals, optimize your site for your goal, and view your analytics.
Love that. I find that breaks it down very, straightforward. Step one, two,
Yeah.
three. Love it.
Good.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
All right. So that brings us to the end of our show. So thank you so much, Sandra, for joining us and sharing a bit about your story and what you do in your Genius Zone. For all of the mummies
Yeah.
watching, please drop a comment below if you have any questions, or just want to say hi. Let us know where you're watching in from. And yes, Sandra or I will circle back around and make sure all of those questions are answered, even if you're catching the replay. So once again, thank
Yeah.
you, Sandra. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and we'll
Yeah.
catch you
Thank you
next
so
time on
much.
the next episode.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right.
Well, take
Thank you.
care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.